This interview is brought to you in association with Rabobank.
Welcome to Rural Delivery Online, where we talk to the people who are making a difference in our primary sector. Today I'm speaking with Dr. William Rolleston, National Vice President of Federated Farmers, about recent decisions regarding funding, or the lack of it, for some of our top agricultural research institutes. Hi, William.
Good morning, Roger.
William, changes in the way we fund science in New Zealand, and you're crying foul. What's up?
It's not so much changes in the way that the science has been funded. It's around the process of selection. So the issue that we've got at the moment is that there are entities called Centres of Research Excellence. They're run out of universities, hosted particularly by one university, funded by the Tertiary Education Commission, and the Centre of Excellence pulls in a whole lot of different collaborators from right around New Zealand to the Centre of Excellence. Now, there have been 8 Centres of Excellence, and they've been going between 4 and 8 years. They're up for review. There have been about, from what I understand, 25 to 30 new applications. The difficulty is that some of the more outstanding ones haven't even got past the first round, and we're asking why. It doesn't seem to make sense, particularly the 3 that we're concerned about from an agricultural point of view is the Reddit Institute, which is looking at food, based in Palmerston North at Massey, Gravita, which is looking at the embryo and development in the womb, both in humans and in animals, so that has some application for productivity in agriculture. And the Bioprotection Research Centre down in Lincoln, which has been looking at biocontrols and biosecurity for New Zealand. So those 3 haven't got past the first round. We don't know why yet, but the concern we have is that these are key areas for agriculture and for our economy, which is one of the purposes of the cause. And we were asking the government, what's up your sleeve? What is better than what we've got now?
The government does have another funding mechanism. It has the National Science Challenges. I would understood that these were areas that would probably be covered there. There is a science challenge for land and water, which I assume would bioprotection. There is one about food and functional food specifically. So there's the REDIT. Are we seeing a shift more into that mechanism?
Well, I think that the cores are a part of the National Science Challenges, but they both do, or they each do slightly different things. The Centres of Excellence are about, of course, excellent research, which you need in both of these, but they are about collaborating and bringing new students, new skills into the whole mix. The National Science Challenges are much more around mission-led tasks. So here's a problem, let's try and solve it. And I think that the National Science Challenges actually need the Centres of Research Excellence to act as a platform to actually get them going. If you rip that carpet out from under the feet of those Centres of Research Excellence, you actually, in my view, will get a reduced outcome for your National Science Challenges.
What are the scientists saying? Have you spoken to any of the people who are actually involved in the cause?
I think I've certainly had discussions and seen comment from the REDIT Institute, and they are absolutely flabbergasted that they have not got past the first round. I mean, this is a organisation that not only is key to New Zealand's economic future, which is one of the reasons to fund a core, but also won the Prime Minister's Science Prize last year. So, it ticks the boxes. We can't understand why it hasn't gone through to the next round.
Any word from government on why that may not be?
No word from government at this point. This has been done through a process through the Royal Society. So the panel who have been working on these have gone through a set of criteria that's been guided by the government. So it's how that has actually been put to them. What is the criteria they've actually had to use, and what have they just all been put on a completely level playing field, or is there some mechanism that says that if something is actually doing well, then it needs to be given a bit more weight? Because if you're looking at all of these institutions and potential institutions, you've got ones with a track record and ones who are completely new starters. That must make a difference. Has it been a positive thing for these institutes, or has it been a negative thing?
And this is about that balance, isn't it, we've always had in the science system between competition and certainty, keeping scientists on their toes to a degree, making sure new ideas can come through, but also allowing things that we know are a good thing to run their course and do what they need to do.
Absolutely, and I think this sends a very bad signal to the cause about certainty.
Are we going to lose scientists as a result?
No, I don't think so. I don't think we're going to lose scientists. We're just going to lose the direction of travel and the ability of the boards of those organisations to actually plan for the long term, because science is desperately in need of certainty and planning for the long term if we're going to get some real eureka moments out of the scientists that we've got.
I guess it's possible. I think you've mentioned there's some 30-odd bids have gone in for cores. There were 8 established already. Are we seeing a reshuffling of the deck? Perhaps there are some bids in there that are compelling and interesting and need to go forward, and this is natural attrition. Could that possibly be the case?
Well, we'd be expecting to see one of the cores at least win the Prime Minister's Science Prize next year, because that's a standard that's been set. We may see a shifting, but if you look around the world, for example, Canada has a similar sort of system. They have 27 different centres of research excellence, and the funding is one thing, but actually it's the title, the prestige of the title that opens a lot of doors that I think is the important thing that is actually going to be lost here.
Well, the other thing that I assume will be lost is that after they've been running a number of years, there will be administration and other infrastructure which works with these scientists, and we know that managing science to its best effect is a difficult thing to achieve. If these things are up and running well, that energy will also be lost, I'd assume.
Yes, that's true, and I think it is just difficult to run science when there's a constant churn going on in the science system. Now, certainly you could look on the other hand and say, well, if there is churn, at least the government is interested in science and wanting to get the system right. But I think we are having a huge degree of churn at the moment, and in my view, in terms of agricultural science, it is at a low ebb, and we really do need to consolidate and start to rebuild our agricultural science base, because agriculture is just so important to the country, to the economy, and to the environment.
We should have talked about numbers. We're talking about $35 million more or less across these 3 centres of research excellence, so that's presumably going to go somewhere else. That doesn't seem like a whole swag of money to be spending across things like bioprotection or developing, smarter, better foods from our primary base. So is there another swag of money out there that we've missed somewhere that's going to come in and replicate that or replace it? Sorry.
Well, actually, the money, that 30 million is on top of the other projects that are actually being run. So what has happened is that there have been a number of funded projects that have come into those cores. The $30 million doesn't just pay for the entire output of a core. What it does is it facilitates the collaboration, adds some more value, but it's not the total value. And I couldn't tell you what the total value of those 3 cores together in terms of all of their research funding.
Do you think they could survive on their own? Do you think is it possible that the universities, Massey, for example, will say, well, look, didn't get central funding for this. This is important. A lot of our good people are in it. It's achieving good things. I'll find another way to put the money in.
No, I think they'll be looking at that right now. But as I say, the other issue is that the title does come with some prestige, which allows doors to be opened, brings other collaborators in, and that, I think, to me, is actually going to be the biggest loss, the money aside.
It's a worry, isn't it, when, as you say, this can come as such a surprise to those groups. It doesn't strike me as a great way to administer science to just suddenly be saying, 1 minute you've got it, the next minute it's gone. There's not really a conversation between those 2 points.
Well, there is, I understand, a wind-down period of a couple of years, which will give those organisations an opportunity to transition into something else. But I've already said that this churn is disruptive. Science needs to have a long-term base, and there is always a balance between giving certainty and not allowing complacency, because you don't get good results out of complacency either. So there does need to be some level of competition, some level of tension to keep all of these organisations on their toes. I just think that in the case of the cause and this round, that level of tension has just been taken to an unnecessary level.
Who makes the final call, William? Is there someone here who could be lobbied, who could be persuaded that perhaps the system here has not provided the sort of result that is really needed?
No, I think it's a very dangerous thing if we are making these decisions on a political basis. The way the system really needs to work, in fact does work, is that the criteria and the mechanism and the objectives are set up by the minister, and then at arm's length, an independent body will use those criteria to make their decisions. So the thing I'm really questioning, or two things I'm really questioning, is one, have they got the mechanism right? And the second thing is, has the government got a plan B in terms of retaining this sort of infrastructure and keeping the momentum, which, when you read the document Cause and Effect, which is a review of the cause, is nothing but complimentary.
We are in an election year. What is Federated Farmers going to be looking at within the various policies that are presented across the political spectrum in terms of maybe not the specific problem, but getting that sort of overall lift and getting that tension, as you say, between competition and certainty right for New Zealand?
I think that the key thing in this area, in agriculture and scientific research, is that we need to start building our capability and capacity up again, and have some certainty about where we're going in agriculture. And we've seen some positive things. I mean, the National Science Challenges, are positive in terms of the challenges that relate to agriculture. The development of the Lincoln Hub, I think, is positive. The reorganisation of ag-research is positive, some negatives aside, in terms of what is happening at Invermay. But actually, a lot of this, a lot of the negative parts of this relates to a lack of funding. And I think, if anything, we will be saying to the government that they need to continually focus on ensuring that there is sufficient funding for agriculture, agricultural research going forward in New Zealand.
Here. Look, William, thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you for your comments. Appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Thanks, Roger.
Thanks, William. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
This interview was brought to you in association with Rabobank.